Hello everybody. Planning Rubric 2 for the edTPA. Planning to support the varied needs of learners. Alright, and the question is how does the candidate use knowledge of the children's support knowledge of the children to support children's varied learning needs, differentiated instruction. Okay, and then it gives you a bit more about the guiding question, which you can look over. In key concepts, plan supports are instructional strategies, learning experiences, and materials, and other resources deliberately designed to facilitate children's learning of the central focus. So everything you put primary sources of evidence is where I would start to look, as we discussed. And you do that, meaning this is where you prove that you did this, and the scorer is going to look in these sections to see if you have what they're asking for there. And the primary sources are the context for learning. Does it include the required supports, modifications, or accommodations? The planning commentary for prompts 2 and 3, and a strategic review of the lesson plans to clarify plan supports. So you do what you're going to say, and you're going to make accommodations for students with special needs. You're going to make sure you want to address that, whether there's an IEP or 504 plan. If there's not, then it's not criteria for this. But you're going to want to make sure that you plan your learning experiences with all the children in mind, and thinking about how you're going to accommodate some students with special needs, whether they have an IEP, 504, or not. Alright, and then you're going to go here, start here, look at level 3, because that's our goal, and it tells you what you need. So are your instructional supports related to the learning objectives and central focus? Does what you're doing make sense? Meaning your instructional decision making. Does that make sense for what you're trying to get students to do? And now, do your plans include supports for the whole class or group related to the learning segment? And these supports are intentional and allow children to engage in the learning experience in ways that address varied learning needs or approaches. So, do you provide opportunities for all your students to engage in the lesson and meet the objective? You may have to make accommodations, meaning change the route that you take for the students to meet the objective depending on their learning needs, but you need the same objective. Okay. And so you're going to describe in your prompts and everything how supports are differentiated for children. And the candidate addresses at least one of the requirements from IEPs or 504 plans described in the context for learning. So you need to find their IEPs or 504 plans, interview with the teacher, your cooperating teacher, about these particular students and their needs, and you're going to want to address those in your commentary. Alright, and again, it goes over the requirements can be addressed in the commentary or planning. Task 1, artifacts, or the things that artifacts is another word to familiarize yourself with, which is another form of evidence where things that, if you're teaching a lesson and you have students create something, maybe they create an art piece with a diagram or descriptions, that is an artifact. So something that actually comes from the students. Alright, and you're going to want to be as specific as possible about those supports for the whole class and group and your specific learners. What are you going to do to differentiate instruction to meet the needs of all your varied learners? Alright guys,